Welcome to another episode of Soul Care Wednesday. I think this is episode 9, which is the ninth week that we have been doing this. That's insane, isn't it? I started off these some times back, as I said, and I didn't really expect it's going to last this long, but we are nine weeks into it and we're still getting better every single day. Yeah, the clocks changed, so that's an amazing fact about Europe and America. I think some states that sometimes, like in Europe, twice in a year, the clock changes. So the first time is usually the last Saturday of October, where the clock basically goes back, and then the last week of March, where the clock basically goes ahead. And so we had the clock shifting last week. Today, now it's quarter. It's six. It's 4:35 p.m. But if you look outside through my window, at this time when I started this episode, it was really, really light. There was so much light outside, but it feels so dark. Soon I will need to have some lighting, or I will need just to transition and go into my house so I can do the episodes inside of my house. So we have been really trying to understand, because as I said, I base this channel on the principles of the Bible, 3 John 2, that says, "Beloved, I pray above everything else that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your souls prosper." So it's my desire and my hope that we will have prosperous souls. And you cannot have a prosperous soul if you have so much stuff happening around it. So we have been looking at different topics, different things that we have covered so far. And today is not a different day. I will try to make this straight to the point, so I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on it. And then we will see, when we need more time, we will do the time that we need with time. That sounds like a tongue twister. On Sunday, I was in church, and as I was at church, I just heard somebody teaching about something. I was like, this is something that has been on my mind. So in the end, it just triggered me to think I must really talk about it, and that's rest. And the guy was talking about, he spoke about Sabbath, and he asked us to do like a quick poll, and there was like showing of hands if you believe that Sabbath is something that was the Old Testament. Hello, Fatima. Something of the Old Testament, that we were not supposed to go on Sabbath and things like that. And I was a bit surprised to see half of the congregation went like, yes. And then went like, if you think a Sabbath is something that is of this generation, of this new time, that we need Sabbath. And of course, there were a few people that went on there lifting their hands. And him explained everything around rest, saying like, most of the time we work so hard that we want to rest from our work. But he said something that resonated with me, and was like, you need to work from rest rather than rest from work. And I was like, wow, that's a mic drop point, right? Because if you're constantly working, which is amazing. We live in places, like I live in a place where there are bills, as I mentioned, the time is changed. The cold winter is almost around the corner. That means that at the end of the day, we'll start to see more. We need more layers. We'll need to be more indoors. We'll need to put on our heating. We have more bills that are calling us. We have more things that need us to do, right? And that means that we will need money, right? And some people I know, and I've heard of stories that their life is all revolving around work and work and work, which is amazing. If you need to work, why not? You have to work, and you work to work, right? But then, do you ever prioritize in that working, resting moments, right? What are the Sabbath moments for you? How does a Sabbath look like, right? Some of us, we think like, oh, it has to be a day. So it has to be a Sunday. And Fatima is saying, true, a Sunday or a Monday. No, it can be one day that you choose, and you're like, I'm going to rest from everything. I will rest from social media. we are sometimes bombarded. Like, I am not a great person on social media. I don't have a big following, but every time I go onto Facebook or I go onto Instagram, gosh, if I don't say to myself, you're only going for 10 minutes, I can just get lost in there. And I usually say, have you ever gone to the very bottom of Instagram? When you scroll, have you ever gotten to the bottom? Never, because the moment you start to think, I've really checked these reels, you refresh the page and there are new reels that are coming, because people are doing their life in public. And we kind of move with our vibe that our lives is constantly, we are like all the time, our adrenaline levels are very high, that we forget we need to get to a point where we are resting and just allowing our bodies to heal, allowing our bodies to recuperate, right? When is that time that you decided just to switch off your phone, like now, and just say, well, now don't switch off because I need you to be here with me, and just say, I will shut away from the world for just maybe, for some of us, the rest could be even just a couple of hours. For some of us, it could be a day. For some of us, it could be maybe once a month that you're like, I will specifically take this time, cut off all the distractions, cut off all the other things, and just be me, myself, and I, and do like a retreat, right? We live in a world where some of these old words that we heard from our parents, our forefathers, look like really strange words. You never hear people saying, well, I'm going on retreat. Because we are like, well, it feels like a waste of time. If you say, I'm going on retreat, they'll be like, what did he say? But you find, like, I found the moments that I've taken these, I don't do it so often, and that's why I'm speaking to myself saying, Claire, we can do better. I found that the moments I just decide and say, I will take a Saturday, for example, outside my busyness and the busy schedules of my life, and say, we will sit down this Saturday and just spend some time, do a little bit more, maybe reading, do a little bit more walking. And of course, when you're resting, for all of us, it will look so different. For me, a rest, if it hasn't included running, would not feel like a rest. But for some people, if they are resting and they have to do exercise, it feels like a lot of work for them. So it does look so different for each one of us. And I'm not asking you, as I said, it's not like a matter of like, let's blanket it oh, excuse me, and say, well, you need a day, you need a specific day, you need a specific time. That's not going to happen for all of us. Some of us have kids, some of us have demanding jobs, some of us have demanding responsibilities. But in the midst of all that, you can carve out maybe an afternoon, maybe a couple of hours that you're like, I'm going to switch off everything, all the disruptions around me, distractions, and just be me, myself, and I. In that moment, you can as well, we are coming towards the end of the year. It's unbelievable, right? Have you started thinking about your 2025? Have you started strategizing on your health goals for 2025, on your wellness and relationships, on your wealth goals for 2025? If you haven't, I think you will be a little bit late for that, right? Because the moment we are starting to ease into December-ish, and there's like all those festivities and everything, it becomes so difficult to sit down and to think about planning for a new year and planning for all those things. And so I find it easier when you start kind of planting the seed and thinking like, I might take some time off today, or take some time off on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon and just rest. And in those moments of resting, I will sit down and try to think about my life, think about my finances, my wealth, think about my health, right? Think about my relationships. Those are the three areas that we are really hot on and key on, where we want to really prosper, right? We want to have good health, we want to have good relationships, we want to have good financial integrity, wisdom, and things around that. So when you're getting to a point where you are constantly working, constantly on the move, it gets to a point that you get on an autopilot, that even creativity reduces, right? You won't be as creative as you are as compared to when you sit down and take a book and take maybe a movie and watch something, or watch a teaching clip, or go out for a walk, or go out for a retreat, as I said, or go out and do whatever that you need to do. A friend of mine is a pastor, and she usually says to me, Claire, I can't say that I will take a Sabbath on a day off on a Sunday because I need to be in church, but I take a day off on a Wednesday. On that Wednesday, I'll go out, I will look after myself, I'll do a little bit of a mini pampering of myself. And if you have to do that, why not? If you have the resources, and I'm not talking about financially splashing out so that you can know that you have rested, you can still do some of these things. You can have a spa day in your own house. Thanks to YouTube, there are so many videos that you can learn about, that you can do your own hair, you can do your own makeup, you can have a long shower, you can have like a cold bath, you can have like, there's so many things that you can actually do on that rest day, so that you are releasing the tension that the world brings around. You're allowing yourself just to be in the moment, to dream in the moment, so that when you're going back into the realities of the busyness of life, you're prepared to meet with the demands of life. As I said, we need to work from rest and not rest from work. We are rested enough that we are looking forward to Monday to hit the road running. I was reading something earlier on. There's a doctor who died sadly this year, Dr. Michael Mosley. He really did quite a lot of work around nutrition, even though he was a medical doctor, but he was more into nutrition and health and things like that. And I was reading an article yesterday. They were trying to get like his final words, the things that he spoke before he died. And one of the things that he was saying is, most of us, we tell ourselves we'll have like these lying weekends. And when it gets to Sunday evening, we are so exhausted from those times that we haven't rested enough. We are so scared to go to bed, to sleep. And then on Monday morning, we are getting into work and you're like, oh my world, what has been happening to my weekend? But if you're somebody that prioritizes and says, I will spend my time, my sister says to me, look for me on a Sunday afternoon, you won't get me because I will be in my bed sleeping. And she says to me, if I don't sleep for a couple of hours, for her, that's her rest. She will be grumpy in the week. She will be like so lethargic. Her energy levels disappear as the week is growing older. And so whatever that you need to do for your soul to be able to be rejuvenated, to be able to light up so that you're good enough for the week ahead, go ahead and do it, right? As I said, it doesn't have to involve any money. But if it involves any money, you could take yourself out for a coffee. You could date yourself. We said you can't do a date with yourself. You could as well just maybe have a bit of more extra sleep. You might want to maybe prioritize that day. And if you're busy with your work, you might want to do some extra cooking so that at the end of the day, you are like, I will have healthy meals, but also don't let that day be full of activities. It's more being able to rest, being able to take time, maybe do some meditation, be able to rest and do some just like relaxation so that you are kind of rejuvenated, you are healed, you're restored to go into the week ahead. Right? So I would love to bring this to an end. As I said, it's not going to be a long episode today. It's just to remind us the place of rest in our soul care. And so as you're prioritizing to have a soul that is prospering and thriving, do not forget about health. Go out there, change the world, do whatever that you can do. When you get to work like everything depends on it. But once you're not at work, go and get some time to rest. Don't be like people one friend told me one day, don't spend your healthy years looking for wealth, that you'll have to spend your wealth trying to get your health back. Food for thought. Are you spending your healthy years looking for wealth so that one day you'll have to spend your wealth trying to get your health back? So this has been episode 9. I will see you again next week for episode 10. Until then, I pray that you will prosper and be in good health. God bless you plentifully. I love you guys from the depth of my heart. If you haven't done so, why not just click on that like button, share button, subscribe button. It will go a long way in supporting what we do. Until next time, goodbye, God bless, and see you soon. Bye.